Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another major forecast here on now officially Hurricane Sally. It's actually a Category 2 now. It was a tropical storm last time I posted a video, and now it's jumped to a Category 2. It rapidly organized and it rapidly intensified quite a bit here. It has strengthened 40 miles an hour so far today, and that's definitely rapid intensification now at Category 2, and it is slowing down before making landfall here, most likely for the Alabama and Mississippi border. So Alabama is now at a huge risk now. I believe they have issued a state of emergency, so Louisiana landfall is not really likely. Like I did say in my past videos, expect this cone to shift east, and that's what it's doing. That's what it's doing now that it rapidly organized and intensified. Could very well be a Category 3 before landfall, so this could manage to make its way to a major hurricane landfall with 100 plus miles an hour, up to 11-foot storm surge. Definitely unsurvivable storm surge if it's up to 11 feet there. Obviously, extreme flash flooding. We have a high risk for flooding with 2+ feet of rain here. It's going to be absolutely immense. So it's going to really affect areas like Pensacola, Panama City, as well as far as Panama City, Mobile, Alabama, areas near Biloxi and Gulfport, Mississippi, and even portions as far west as New Orleans. You guys will definitely feel the impact with storm surge, wind gusts, and even some rough seas. So here's looking at the National Hurricane Center. Hurricane Paula actually just made landfall in Bermuda earlier this morning. It is now making its way now to becoming a major hurricane at 105 miles an hour. I mean, Sally really caught up. Sally's at 100 miles an hour and 987 millibars, and it is now moving west-northwest at 6 miles an hour. It has done nothing but slow down today, and it's not too close to getting to landfall now that it's moving 6 miles an hour. I mean, this thing definitely has a very good shot to become a major hurricane before landfall. I mean, it just needs 11 more miles an hour. Actually, it just needs 15 more based on the National Hurricane Center. And if it's been rapidly intensifying all day today, it could get 15 miles an hour more, especially now it's slowing down over very, very warm waters. I mean, this is just a massive and a big threat for portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, especially Alabama, and portions of the western panhandle of Florida. But as you see, west-northwest at 6 miles an hour will very well start going northwest soon, and then due north. And when it starts going due north, that's when it's the big threat. That's when it's hours from landfall here. But most likely, I will try to do a live stream tomorrow. But also, we got Vicky now. We got Vicky, tropical storm Vicky. So we are one more tropical cyclone. We are at Greece, guys. That's mental. It's at 45 miles an hour. We're going to be very short-lived. Teddy's now at 50 miles an hour. Paul at 105, and then we have now a 50% chance for this disturbance. So this could very well be Wilma. I mean, could this really end? Could this get us to Greece? I mean, could this get us to getting to Greece? I mean, that's going to be really mental. If this could become not Wilma, Wilfred. Could this be Wilfred, not Wilma? Oh my gosh, guys. I did not mean to say Wilma. Wilfred. Could this be Wilfred? That's the question here. That's big. I mean, I can't believe we might see Greeks. We actually could see Greeks or will see Greeks before October. That's mental. That will give us a huge monthly compared to 2005. So really, 2005 is up to a mental start. But we have 4 current named storms actually, and then you got post-tropical range. So we could have had 5 named storms at once. That's really just mental, guys. This is definitely showing the peak season. As you see now, portions of the outer range of Sally are starting to bring in rain upon portions of the western panhandle. Even seeing some rain as far areas near Auburn, portions of actually the areas up to Dolphin. We have flash flood watches for a lot of Florida, a lot of the Panhandle, and a lot of Alabama. I mean, almost half the state of Alabama is under flash flood watches there, but there's the low pressure right there. And then you got the northeastern quadrant. The northeastern quadrant is by far the strongest and the worst part of any tropical system. I mean, you saw Faye, you saw Lower's northeastern quadrant. I mean, this is going to be mental here, but as you see, earliest seeing that rain starting to pop up for portions of the western panhandle, especially because that northeastern quadrant there is where we have the heaviest of the rain on every tropical or most tropical cyclones there. You see that counterclockwise spin there. This is going to bring in a lot more rain out for Mobile soon, Pensacola, Destin, and we'll continue to see this rain getting heavier and heavier, and conditions are just going to get worse and worse from this point on. Here's a look at the satellite convection-wise. As you see, really starting to see, could we get this eye? Could we get an eye really watching out for this potential eye to maybe form. If we can get an eye, it'll be around here, obviously. But really, look at that banding. You got banding all over the place. This is very, very organized. We have a ton of convection. You should have saw it earlier today. Today was absolutely mental. For those people who are on my Discord, you guys saw it actually, how mental it was on convection. I posted it on general chat. But look at this. I mean, this is just a monster. I mean, look at that. You can definitely see there's trying to see if they can actually open up to a beginning formation of an eye. I mean, we're starting to finish up the process of the eye wall, which you mean to once they finish the eye wall, you know it's next in the process. But look at this. You can just see that counterclockwise convection and spin. I mean, this is just a mental storm. Who would have thought this would have been a almost category 3? I mean, could this actually get to a category 3? This is actually a very, very good shot. This is now, it seems like it's going northwest right now. I don't think it's really going west-northwest at this point. But it is moving so slow that it's going to be really hard to tell. But look, cloud cover is all the way up into Birmingham from this. We have cloud cover as far as Atlanta in here. I'm actually seeing some very dense cloud cover, not from this, but from something else. But this cloud cover is getting all the way up to here, guys. I mean, it is stretching so far, and we have cloud cover all the way up into portions of Tampa Bay still and Naples. This is covering a lot of cloud cover for much of the eastern Gulf and southeast, just like what Hannah did from Louisiana to the Bay of Campeche. We had cloud cover, but there's that low pressure and heading straight for portions of Mobile and portions of Hattiesburg. If you're in Gulfport. If you're in Gulfport, if you're in Biloxi, if you're in Mobile, I would evacuate immediately. It might be too late right now. I mean, it's going to make landfall in possibly 24, 30 hours. So time is ticking. I mean, we're already starting to see big rough seas reported for Pensacola. We're not seeing extreme storm surge, but we're starting to see major flooding, and that's going to obviously get worse. And the fact that it's 24 hours, 30 hours from landfall could delay even more. And now that's moving so slow that this is already bringing rough conditions. I mean, this could very well give it much time to reach 115 miles an hour to become a major Hurricane Sally and devastate portions of the Gulf Coast, Alabama, Western Panhandle. You guys were not expected to get this hit. Now you guys can get it dead on, especially Mobile and especially Biloxi, Mississippi. You guys are right in the dead center path for this storm, and this could absolutely devastate those areas. I mean, easily flooded areas. There's other than Biloxi and Mobile, it's very rural. Only the urban areas are those big cities there. So I'm just going to see there's a lot of swamps in that general Mississippi and Louisiana area. So expect some decent and potentially life-threatening storm surge as far as Louisiana and as far as portions of Apalachicola or Panama City with this massive storm. Here's like now at the new, I believe this is the 5 o'clock update here. And as you see, we now have hurricane warnings stretching as far east as Pensacola and as far west as portions of the southwestern areas of Louisiana. I actually think they'll remove these, not for New Orleans, but I think they're going to remove these hurricane warnings right here. I just don't think that's necessary here. But look at the wind field. We are already starting to see tropical storm winds just reach the coast here. We're seeing up to 40 miles an hour just reaching the Florida coast there. And if you're Pensacola and if you're in Panama City, it's going to be just borderline tropical storm winds right now. We're just getting it there. But as you see, hurricane warning for Mobile. Hurricane warnings actually for all of Alabama coast, even though it's really small. Hurricane warnings now for Pensacola. And they now have tropical storm warnings for Apalachicola, tropical storm warnings for Panama City, Destin, and Fort Walton. I would not rule out the possibility if those hurricane warnings move as far as Destin. And then New Orleans, Biloxi, those big areas there under hurricane warnings, and as you see, expected to be 110 miles an hour max. That's what the National Hurricane Center predicts. They show 110 miles max. I really think 115 is very possible. It's probably going to be a borderline category 2, borderline category 3 at this point, but the fact we're really starting to see this tropical storm winds already for portions of inland areas in the coast, it's going to be a long 36 hours before landfall. It's going to be a long 30 hours before landfall. I mean, look how far it is from the coast, and it's moving 6 miles an hour west-northwest, and then it still has to do that northern turn. That's going to even take it more time. So, I mean, this definitely has a lot of potential to become a Category 3 major hurricane here. But let's check out now the watches and warnings zoomed in. As you see, Mobile, Pensacola. I I actually believe Fort Walton. Yeah, Fort Walton's actually under hurricane warnings. I'm not exactly sure about Destin. I think Destin's right on the border with those tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings. But Fort Walton, you guys are under hurricane warnings. Pensacola, so please don't go to the Western Panhandle for a vacation here. I mean, I don't know who would because schools are on, but it's gonna possibly be a major hurricane. But yeah, Destin, I just confirmed, Destin's actually not in our hurricane warnings, but they could be in there. But as you see, Panama City, you guys are there. Destin, you guys in tropical storm warnings, and we have tropical storm watches as far inland as areas. The county south of Montgomery, but hurricane warnings for Mobile, Pensacola, Biloxi, New Orleans, and Grand Isle. If you're under hurricane warning, you shouldn't be home right now. You should have evacuated. Obviously, some people have circumstances where they can't leave, but really, I mean, Hattiesburg under tropical storm warnings, Macomb tropical storm warnings, not far from Baton Rouge, we have tropical storm warnings, and then just north of Hattiesburg and in portions of southern Alabama, we do have those tropical storm watches there. But as you see, storm surge, it's going to continue to increase, as so does the strength of the system. But look at that, 7 to 11 foot storm surge from Ocean Spring, Mississippi to areas of the mouth of the Mississippi River. So, like I said, those easily flooded areas, like what happened with Katrina, those easily flooded areas. I'm not saying this is going to bring storm surge like Katrina, but I'm giving an example how Katrina brought so high storm surge because how easily flooded these swamp areas are. That's exactly why the highest storm surge out of the storm will be for the areas where Katrina made landfall, because it's the mouth of the Mississippi River. We have swamps, you have rivers. That's going to make it easier to overflow here. And as you see, for the areas near New Orleans and the big lake borders, we do have 3 to 5 foot storm surge. So New Orleans, you guys can still see up to waist storm surge, depending if you're right inland or if you're in the metro area. But as you see, we're going to be seeing some big, lake borders is actually going to be seeing 7 to 11 foot storm surge. My bad. As you see, I mean, this could be high enough and strong enough storm surge to push the Mississippi River going north, which is going to bring in even more storm surge for New Orleans, even more storm surge for the metro area of New Orleans, and then we have 1 to 2 foot storm surge for areas of near Burns Point and Port Fortune, Louisiana. 6 to 9 foot storm surge for portions of Ocean Springs to Dauphin Island. That's for Alabama and Mississippi. 6 to 9 foot storm surge. That's still deadly. That's easily deadly because the minimum 6 feet, which is obviously on average higher than anybody. Obviously, there's men and women that get up over 6 feet, but rarely is that in the case. But 4 to 7 foot storm surge is from Dauphin Island to the Florida border with Alabama. So, as you see, it's kind of not going to be, the worst storm surge isn't going to be in that northeastern quadrant. That's where the worst of the flooding will be. But since that onshore breeze, since that counterclockwise spin is going to bring in the waves going that way, that's going to bring in more storm surge for the west. So, it's going to be more storm surge for the west because it's more swampy. And obviously, that counterclockwise spin. And then more rain and more heavier rain, easier flooding for the areas to the east of the low pressure. And then we have 1 to 3 foot storm surge all the way up to the areas in the Big Bend and near the Chassa Woods. Guys, I'm not going to pronounce that. I do apologize. I cannot pronounce that. But we're going to be seeing storm surge from here to that's a lot. I mean, that's a big area. So there's definitely going to be unsurvivable storm surge here. As you see, I mean, this is going to bring super high amounts of rain all the way from the Gulf Coast, guys, to North Carolina. I mean, this is going to bring a ton of rain. I'm actually under 6 to 10 inches of rain. That's going to be absolutely mental. There's going to be up to 3 to 4 days of straight rain because of this. It's going to be a big rainmaker because it's going to be going so slow. But as you see, like I said, the heaviest of the rain will be to the east of that low pressure, or the east of where that worst storm surge is. As you see, up to 15 to 20 inches of rain for the far western panhandle, southern Alabama, and the southwestern coast of Mississippi. And then we have a big area from Pensacola up to further inland areas, up to 10 to 15 inches, which is still a ton of rain, guys, in 24 hours or less. That's a ton of rain. That's like worth rain of like a month for some of these areas. But look at this. This is not going to be the end of the show when it makes landfall. Like, Even portions of the mountainous areas of North Carolina can be seeing 10 to 15 inches. And this will be a post-tropical depression by then. It will be a post-tropical depression by then, yet they could see over a foot of rain. It's mental. I mean, this is going to bring in so much rain for portions as far inland as my area near Gainesville. I could see 6 to 10 inches of rain. The greatest high risk the greatest flood risk in the next 3 days. I'm actually under a moderate risk, which is actually isn't too common to have a moderate risk for flooding here. But look at this. I mean, this is showing you how significant it will be. Not only will it be significant for landfall, but it'll be very significant inland as well. I mean, that's going to overflow big lakes. It's going to overflow big creeks. I mean, this is going to bring widespread flooding issues as well for Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee. This is going to bring in, you're going to be seeing a lot of flooding issues overall. So this could very well cause a lot of damage even after landfall. But as you see, the high risk for flooding is in Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. That's where we have the highest chance or risk for flash flooding. So add that to storm surge, unsurvivable. I hate to say it. Or for the coast, if you're in a high risk inland, the biggest risk will always be the wind and the flash flooding. But if you're in a coast like Gulfport, Pensacola, or Mobile, add that high risk of flooding, and it's going to be mental here. But as you see, though, it's going to bring in as far inland areas of flooding up to me. Intensity guidance, let's check out if this is new. Only a couple models get us to a category 3, but I'm telling you guys, if it's going to continue to slow down like this, it's going to reach cat 3 winds. This is actually not the new update. This is actually when it was a category 1. It rapidly intensified so much that literally, like, it's off by a category because it's strengthening so much that the updates can't keep up with it. But this is actually the 5 o'clock update. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's 5 o'clock. Oh yeah, this is 18Z. Yeah, this is 5 o'clock. So this is actually old. But when it was a category 1, a high in category 1, a lot got us to a hurricane. Actually, almost 99% got us to a category 2, and only 3 got us to category 3. But I bet you, now this is actually a category 2, almost everyone will get to a category 3. And then tracks, as you see, going to make landfall for around Mobile, Alabama. Like I said, Louisiana. If you're in Louisiana, like, you're fine with the winds, but storm surge is still going to be a key threat. Actually, like I said, the high storm surge is actually going to be in Louisiana and Mississippi. 7 to 11 foot storm surge. That's unsurvivable. It really, really is. That's actually what Laura brought. Actually, Laura brought 11 to 15 foot storm surge. It actually brought 20 foot storm surge for some areas. But look at this. This is actually mental. I mean, this is just going to be really, really crazy. I did not think we'll expect a major hurricane out of this. As you see, tracks are going to be most likely leading to an all-out Alabama landfall. Like I said, Alabama is going to be the key. It's going to be the state that's going to hit the hardest. We all thought Louisiana or Mississippi, or many people thought that. But Alabama, this is exactly why this is actually a big threat, because Alabama was not ready for this, and they never were, because this was not headed for them. They didn't add hurricane warnings till now, guys, till today, early this morning. I mean, this is just showing you. I mean, it's like you can't really. It's either evacuate or don't prepare, because I bet you there's everybody panicked now. There's no food. There are no generators. I don't know what the situation is for the coastal Alabama areas, but definitely it's probably not good. But really, now that this has slowed down, it's good in the way that you have time to prepare if you haven't left, but it's bad in the way that means it's going to be stronger. So if you don't leave, the chances of not living through it do increase if you're on the coast, especially if you're on the coast. But obviously there's trees that can fall as far inland. I mean, we can even see deaths reported as far as the southeast because trees fall down because it's so wet with 15 inches of rain, and they can't take that with 30 miles an hour and 15 inches of rain. It doesn't go good, especially when Irma came in as a tropical storm at 40 miles an hour. We lost power, and we didn't go to school for 2 weeks. We lost power for a couple hours, actually around a day, and we didn't go to school for 2 weeks. And now it's Irma as a 40 mile an hour tropical storm. This could very well be tropical depression, not much weaker at 30 miles an hour. So this is gonna keep it. You gotta keep in mind, even if you're in my area, you still gotta keep a look on it, because I mean, the flash flooding risk is a moderate risk. I mean, this is gonna be a real effects from the Gulf Coast up to areas of the Appalachians. Let's go and check out now what we have now with the H-Wharf hurricane model, which has actually been nothing but they've done nothing but ace this storm so far. Everybody thought they were overhyping it, but they actually get this to going to 959 millibars, 958 millibars before landfall, and that is a Category 4, guys. I mean, Category 4 doesn't seem super possible at the point. I know it's slowing down, but think about it. It's going to make landfall in around 24, 30 hours. I'm not sure about Category 4, but Category 3 definitely seems likely. And then they make the landfall right on the Alabama border. But like I said, look at the northeastern quadrant. That's going to be seeing the heaviest of the rain, where we're going to be seeing the highest flooding risk. But look at that northwestern quadrant. Not much. I mean, not much rain. This is exactly why the northeastern quadrant is always the deadliest and highest at risk. But as you see, going to make landfall there, and then possibly going to bring a ton of rain. I mean, look at the rain it brings in Georgia, guys. I'm actually right here. I'm right in that red. I'm getting blown up with rain here. I mean, the rain's going to be, it's going to be mental. I mean, it's going to be extremely high amounts, or just extreme rain here. Let's go check out the winds, shall we? Check out the winds. Let's check out 10-meter winds. As you see, they get it up to possibly bringing in a good amount of, up to 94 miles an hour, obviously stronger than that. And then they get it up to possibly 112 miles an hour, which is just under Category 3. And then they get it up to possibly getting just over 115 miles an hour. So H-Wharf supports a Category 3 hurricane. But let's go and check out now, last but not least, the European model. So here, look now at the European model, and as you see, again, as of now, European has it, of course, at 100 miles an hour, and then just blowing up here. I mean, look at that. This is going to be getting up to 107 knots based on the European. 107 knots. That's 120 miles an hour, I believe. But look, this, you guys got to pay attention to the southeast as well. The effects it's going to bring inland. But look, already 23 miles an hour for portions of Montgomery, 50 miles an hour for Pensacola. Going to possibly bring in 75 miles an hour, if not 80 miles an hour for the far parishes areas in Louisiana. And then European gets it to 113 knots before landfall, which is around 125 miles an hour. I mean, this is going to make landfall. It's going to blow up these general areas 67 miles an hour after it makes landfall, or after a weekend. But look at this. This is going to bring in 41 miles an hour. Oh, sorry. This is actually knots. 47 knots for portions of southwestern Atlanta. This is going to bring 36 knots for my area, 40 knots south of my area. It's going to bring very windy conditions, 50 knots for South Carolina. I mean, guys, we're going to be seeing some very strong winds here as far inland as the Appalachians. So, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye, guys.